go. Come on, where is it?
Dave, it's your Idaho Central app here. Any chance you're missing a debit card? Let's get that taken care of for you. With ICCU's card control, you can turn any card off with the tap of your finger.
You got it.
And back on again. Out, 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 out. The closest Idaho Central Credit Union branch is in your pocket.
Pow day.
Dude, let's go.
This is Bronco Nation News Live. The best interviews, the most informed opinions, the latest breaking news, all from the top Boise State insiders. Bronco Nation News Live from BroncoNationNews.com is presented by RowPaint.com, the official paint and coatings company of Boise State Athletics. All Bronco Nation news broadcasts come from the Western Collective Studios. Head down to Western Collective's locations in Garden City or downtown Boise to try some of their delicious beers, including the Horseshoe Golden Ale, the first beer to support an NIL collective. Now, here's four-time NSMA Idaho Sports Writer of the Year, BJ Rains, with another edition of Bronco Nation News Live.
Hey, happy Monday. Welcome on into a new week. Great week. Going to be here at Bronco Nation News, BroncoNationNews.com. This is a Blue and Orange Store Monday. We appreciate Travis Hawks and company. Now the Blue and Orange Store, Mike Prater, the official, what's the wording? In-game provider, in-game sales spot for merchandise at Boise State athletic events. So congrats to Travis Hawks and company for that. And again, the Blue and Orange Store, they're at blueandorange.store.com. You can order anywhere in the world, and they got that great store right there at the Boise Town Square Mall next to Pro Image. And of course, our title sponsor, where Mike Prater is, the RowPaint.com studios, Andy Rowe and company. We appreciate RowPaint.com for all their support, all your painting needs. Make sure you hit up our title sponsor, Andy Rowe and RowPaint.com, and I'll connect you in a group text straight to Andy, and they'll get you set up for a free estimate. And whether it's those concrete coatings, interior, exterior painting, we appreciate Andy Rowe and RowPaint.com. It is Monday, and that means you get to start your week off with 45 minutes of Mike Prater here at BroncoNationNews.com. Mike, as always, I know it was a busy weekend for you. I know you have to get up a little early on a Monday to do this, but appreciate you as always, sir. How we doing?
It's my weekly tradition. I look forward to starting off the Mondays, starting off the week right here. So let's get after it. And busy weekend for you, busy weekend for me, busy weekend for a lot of people. Great weekend outside, but that doesn't mean the sports world is slowing down. So we got plenty to talk about today.
Made my first trek over to Idaho Falls and Rexburg, Idaho over the weekend for my son's baseball tournament. So got to get over to Rexburg and Idaho Falls and Pocatello and see that part of eastern Idaho for the first time. I'm hoping if they get a basketball game over there again that the dates line up, because I saw the Mountain America Credit Union Arena there. It looks phenomenal. Both times Boise State's played there, there's been a football game conflict and haven't been able to make it, but was over there and thought it would look like a great arena. So I'm hoping that works out this year to make it over there. But had a great time. Saw our friend Dayton Robinson, who does our great job doing our taxes for BNN over there as well. He just happened to live in the neighborhood right next to one of my kids' games. So he walked over and good chatting with him. But had a beautiful weather, great weekend. My 8-year-old won their tournament. And I know you had a great weekend as well down there at the at Timberstone Golf Course. The Khalil Shakir tournament. I saw a tweet that somehow you guys finished in second place or something, and then I saw a photo of you over by a horse, and I was just wondering if I was trying to find your ball in the background over there in the horse area, but looked like fun times at the Khalil Shakir tournament.
Well, I could say that it's been a great 8 days at Timberstone Golf Course. A couple, last Friday, the previous Friday, the Bronco Nation News Golf Tournament, and the spectacular job that you do with the BNN tournament. That was pretty cool. I think my team finished second in that one. I'm not sure whether, I think it was like 30 plus teams in your tournament, and then Saturday out there at the Khalil Shakir Golf Tournament, also at Timberstone. Tad and Kelly and the gang always put on a great show, and Shaq and his agent Sam and Mrs. Shaq, Sailor Shakir, they've done a fantastic job. Those golf tournaments are tough, as you know, and putting on a golf tournament for the very first time is pretty cool. And got to see Shaq picked up Billy Bowens, my favorite. You know I love Billy Bowens. Picked him up as a last-minute replacement on my team, and we finished second and almost won a trip to Las Vegas, but they ended up with about $1,000 worth of golf swag. So that was kind of cool. Thanks to Khalil Shakir and everybody for putting that sucker on. It was a fun time event, and lots of Boise State vibes out there. Lots of Boise State conversations. Yeah,
I heard. I saw the flyer. They had quite the list of prizes and things out there. So if I know it's getting saturated a little bit with some tournaments here, with the collective tournament and some other players coming in here, and there's a lot of Boise State related tournaments, but it sounded like a cool event, and those that were able to get out there was happy to see that they did well and raised some money for a good cause. There's never a bad day on the course at Timberstone Golf Course regardless, but when you throw in everything else that was going on, I need to know though why you were standing over there posing for a picture with a horse, and I believe that would have been hole 10, or I'm not sure which hole that would have been, but like I said, I kept looking in the background to see if your ball was back there somewhere and out of bounds in the horse pasture, but I couldn't find it anywhere.
Yeah, good visuals. It was number 10, but it was the tee box, and as you know, these scrambles get a little slow, so we were just waiting for our turn to tee off, and right there on the tee box, it's a brand new tee box they're building there at Timberstone. It's right up against a horse fence and right up against a horse pasture, and that dude came over and said hi to us. So I'm scared of horses. They're big and scary and very majestic. And I'm not a big horse guy, but that thing was pretty dang friendly. So me and Billy Bowens spent some time petting that horse and waiting for our turn to tee off. And I probably still threw it into the pasture when I teed off eventually. But that was an innocent photo with a beautiful, innocent horse. And that was a cool moment. I'm not sure Billy's ever petted a horse either. So that was kind of a new thing for both of us.
Well, appreciate Khalil Shakir coming back and raising money for a good cause. I know Ashton Genty's coming back for a football camp here in the next couple of weeks, and and so look, great to always see the former players still come back, whether it's on their own or with the Gridiron Dreams or whatever else they have going on. So I know we always appreciate seeing them come back to the area, and I hope Khalil had a great time and raised a lot of money for charity there. We appreciate all you guys for jumping in, watching the show today. We got some shout outs already. Let us know where you're watching from. We'll give you a shout out. Noah Patterson is watching from Linville, North Carolina, Mike Prater. So we're going coast to coast today. Appreciate you for watching, and if you want to let us know where you're watching from in the ICCU YouTube chat, we will give you a shout out. We'll let you know. We'll take your question, your comment, whatever. But Mike, I think I mentioned this last week, but we've purchased the flights. We've made the plans. BNN, KTIK teaming up again for Mountain West Media Days coverage in Las Vegas. We're looking forward to that. We'll be doing a Tuesday kind of Mountain West preview shows from the sports book there, and then Wednesday and Thursday from Radio Row there at Mountain West Media Days. And we kind of timed up our two series here to kind of coincide with that. And we're starting a new series today, 25 questions. You can call them biggest questions, burning questions, whatever you want to call it, but 25 different questions, topics. You know how it is with these countdowns, Mike Prater. If you can go 3 or 4 weeks, might as well make it 5 and stretch it out as long as you can. But I feel we have I don't think we stretched it too far. I think we have 25 good topics, 25 good questions. Nathan Carroll and I put this list together. Nathan's writing most of the articles, and then we're talking about them on the shows. And our number one storyline question about this team will be on the Monday of the Media Days week. So we'll get that on Monday, and then roll right into Media Days in Las Vegas on Tuesday. So we've timed this series up to pretty much go right in to the Mountain West Media Days there in in Las Vegas. And new series today. Most of these questions are obviously team-centered. Some are bigger picture, coaching, staff, group of five related, all different kinds of topics. Basically, the goal of this series is if you're just an average fan or don't know much about the team, or if you just moved here or something and you're trying to get an idea on the team, when you're done with this series in the next month or so, you'll have a pretty good idea about the most important players, positions, where they sit in the group of five race, where they sit in the conference race, what are their toughest games, who are their toughest challengers for some of these playoff spots and things. So kind of a lot of different ways we're going to go. And I thought this was a good kind of first question to kick off the series, Mike Prater. I know we kind of touched on it after Pro Day and after the draft last year, or last month, whenever it was, about, number 6, Ashton Genty, great. Ahmed Hassanin, great. Who is next year's potential crop or guys that could get drafted? And so Nathan sat down, put together a list, and again, you can read these articles at BroncoNationNews.com. We usually post them the night before or before the show in the morning, and then we discuss it. So if you want to go to BroncoNationNews.com and you're a paying subscriber, you can read right now the list here, and broken down into some different categories. Mike Prater, likely to get drafted, could get drafted, and then wild cards. And so we have, I think, 11 or 12 names, but there's only one player that he has in the, that he thinks you can for sure count on getting drafted category, and that is Cage Casey. And there's some reports out there, some mock drafts already. I saw one from The Athletic, I think, that has him going even as high as the first round. I think 24 I always love the teams. How they know the teams at this point is great. But number 24 to the San Francisco 49ers, I saw a couple days after the draft in the Athletics draft on the New York Times website. So at least some people out there think he could be a first-round pick. Whether that happens, we'll see. Obviously, Boise State, as you know, Mike Prater has never had back-to-back years of first-round picks, so there is some history potentially to be done out there if Cage Casey can do it. But obviously, we'll get to the other names on this list. But if you're talking about draft picks and draft hype in 2026, it certainly starts with Cage Casey.
Yeah, there's no doubt about that. Cage Casey, pending health, is going to get drafted. The big question is it going to be Thursday night or is it going to be Friday? I don't even sit here on the worst case scenario, sit here today thinking that he's going to be a day 3 guy. So it's going to come down to this season and how he performs and how healthy he is. So, I've done a lot of research because I've been kind of fascinated by this, and we're coming out of a draft cycle. So I spent a lot of time thinking and talking to people about Cage Casey. Cage Casey is so smooth and consistent on the football field. You don't think he's like this mean, dominating, lathered up left tackle that you want to just go out there and be a dirt dog and put his hand in the ground and just dominate people, because he doesn't come off that way on the football field. He's more methodical and he's more smooth. And we know off the field, he's a pretty quiet dude. So, a lot of people that I've been talking to over the last couple of weeks have said, no, Cage Casey really is a mean dude when he gets on the football field. He can be the road grader. He could be the guy that's pretty intense and pretty serious. So he just quietly goes about his business, and I think that's going to be very attractive to the NFL scouts. Cage Casey, without a doubt, has got first-round potential, but we'll see how it plays out. A lot of football between now and then. It's either Thursday night or Friday. I cannot wait to see how this develops.
Now, we just talked about him last Wednesday with Brad Bedell and with Michael Callahan. He was our number 3 player in terms of the individual, most important players on this team. And as I said, if you go by best, if there was different ways you could phrase it, he'd be number 1. As we said, he's number 1 here on the NFL draft prospect list. We had him at number 3 overall in terms of the most important players to the team. And there were just some crazy stats that Nathan Carroll found about him. And I know you know some of these, Mike Prater, but just to reiterate, the one that stands out to me that will forever, maybe going into the season, be my favorite stat: 1,788 career snaps for Cage Casey. 1,788 career snaps. We're talking almost 1,800 career snaps for Cage Casey in his career so far. He's been called for 1 penalty.
Wow.
1 penalty on Cage Casey, his entire Boise State career, 1788. We talked about it last week, so folks know, but do you have any remembrance or idea of the 1 penalty for Cage Casey?
I thought my mind was racing. I had a feeling you were going to ask me that. I don't. It was either something really, really important or just a silly little simple false start.
It was an unsportsmanlike conduct penalty against Nevada this past season. And as Michael Callahan recalled, it was on an Ashton Genty touchdown run, and Cage Casey was blocking his man and just decided, even though the whistle had been blown, you know what, I'm going to keep blocking my man, and pushed his guy back further and further and further, and they finally gave him a penalty for not wanting to stop his block. But and as Brad Bedell said, if you're going to get an unsportsmanlike penalty conduct, that's the one you get for being a little after the whistle physical. But it was for I believe extending a block well past the whistle, and taking his guy down or whatever in the end zone on a Ashton Genty touchdown run. But you're talking no false starts. All the road venues they've played, Oregon, all this stuff, no false starts, no holding penalties at all in his entire career. I mean, almost 1,800 career snaps. One penalty is just incredible, and shows you just the technique and the discipline that he plays with. I mean, obviously there's a lot of stats we could talk about, but that to me, one penalty in his career is pretty crazy. Yeah, that is pretty crazy, and that goes exactly with what I was saying in terms of every time we learn a little bit more about Cage Casey, he does get a little bit meaner and a little bit nastier on the football field. And I don't remember that play. I don't remember that call at all. So that one skipped my mind. If that's the kind of play that he's at, those are the kind of, as Coach Bedell said, those are the kind of penalties that you can put up with, because it's just kind of a mean, aggressive, and especially if the dude only has one. So I'd be a little worried if Cage Casey had played 1,800 snaps and didn't have a single penalty. I guess that's a cool badge of honor, but you want those guys to play on the edge, and it sounds like he's really good at playing on the edge, but he's controlled, the controlled part of playing on the edge. And every now and then you got to road grader somebody into the ground, and it sounds like he did that against Nevada, and that's exactly what you want from an offensive lineman. Another stat, 0, Mike Prater. You and I gave up the same number of sacks last year as Cage Casey did. 0 sacks allowed last year, only 6 pressures allowed. So only 6 times the entire season did a guy that he was blocking actually get a pressure on the quarterback. I mean, that's just a crazy stat to think about. And I know last year they didn't maybe pass as much as some teams. It's not like they're out there throwing the ball 40 times a game. I get that, but no sacks, only 6 pressures. His 83.4 Pro Football Focus grade was the best of any Mountain West tackle last season. And there was some people saying he would have been a 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th round pick if he had come into the draft last year. And that, he could have probably gotten drafted later in the draft just based on potential and everything. And obviously could have transferred and gotten some big money elsewhere as well, but comes back to Boise State. And I think you were at the press conference when we talked to Tim Keene a couple of months ago, Mike, and he talked about, hey, and it's the new thing that I said on your show that Spencer's been saying, you can have everything you want at Boise State. And for Cage Casey, he's seen Ryan Clady. He's seen Ryan Clady be a first-round pick, a top 15 pick in this draft. He has seen all the other offensive linemen, left tackles. They had that long streak going of multi-year starters at left tackle getting drafted. John Ojukwu didn't get drafted and ended that, but is still playing in the NFL right now. If you're a multi-year starter at left tackle at Boise State, you have a great chance to get to the next level, to get drafted, to make a lot of money, Charles Leno, all these guys. And again, he could have gone pro last year, maybe been a later round pick, could have transferred. But he's back, and he's, I don't know if it's exactly in the Ashton Genty, case but he kind of is betting on himself and knows his bigger payday is coming. And it looks like that's going to be the case with a solid season here. Genty was so celebrated last year because of who he was and what he represented in the position that he played. You can almost make a case, and I know he was number 3 on your most important player list. I think he was number 4 for us. I can't remember exactly where he was, but it just goes to show you the importance of Cage Casey and what he means to this offense. He gets a little covered up because this offensive line as a whole is pretty darn good, and it's really, really deep. And Tim Keene has done a really nice job building and developing this offensive line. I think they can mix and match the interior guys. Looks like they can mix and match a couple of the outside tackle guys. So Cage Casey, if he goes down, I don't think it's going to be a disastrous part of this football season, but he's clearly that important guy that you need, the road grader, the anchor of this offense. So I love the lineage that Boise State's built, going all the way back to Darren College. We're talking 20-plus years of very consistent left tackle domination at Boise State that goes into the NFL. That's a pretty good history. That's a pretty good tradition, and there's no doubt that Cage Casey is going to be the next guy in line to do that. Is it just kind of a cool side note, a cool thing at this point? I mean, Boise State's done so much now, and they've keep pushing the bar. But would it mean, we talked about this, I forget who the host was, maybe it was you actually, shortly after the draft this past year. But if he could get into the first round and have back-to-back first-round picks for the first time in school history, I mean, is that I mean, at this point, do they need the extra things to add to the postcards in recruiting? I mean, would that be a big deal for Boise State, or have they done enough to show that they're already with the big boys? I mean, how big of a deal, if we're tracking this possible back-to-back first-round picks, would that be for you?
Oh, that'd be massive. That would be massive. And the timing couldn't be better, because at a time where the great divide between the P4s and the G6s is more massive than ever, and it really is going to get bigger every single day until they decide that it's so big that we're just going to break it off. But if Boise State can continue to be relevant in a world where the big boys are out there trying to separate themselves, and back-to-back first-rounders is important. Building that lineage at left tackle, that's very, very important. It's symbolic, but it also brings a lot of substance to the program. And you can recruit a running back and a left tackle, a running back and an offensive lineman, and you can say, guys, I'm going to get you to the NFL. We've been doing it for 20 years. We've been doing it for 10 years. We did it last year. We've been doing it the last couple of years. So it's consistent. It's a really good tradition. It's a really good banner to have. I think it's vitally important to have those kinds of national headlines when they're trying to break off and keep Boise State regional. Very, very important.
So should I already be looking at hotel rooms in Pittsburgh then for next year?
Yes. Because if it's not going to be him, we got a couple more we want to talk about that are going to get drafted. But yeah, Cage Casey, and I don't want to get too carried away. I'm kind of always the slow it down, skeptical guy. If you told me today, right now, that Cage Casey's going to go in the first round, I'd say just placed on the odds, based on the numbers, probably no. But if he continues to stay healthy, if he continues to dominate the way he has, he's going to solidify himself as that guy. I'd like to sniff around because the one part of this whole angle we don't look at is how many other dominant left tackles are out there that are going to be eligible for the draft next year. They were going to take, 4, 5, 6 in the first round. That's probably the working number, and that's pretty high. Is he part of the group of 4 or 5 or 6 that are in this conversation? We'll see how that plays out for sure.
All right, Cage Casey, certainly at the top of our list in terms of likely draft picks. And again, likely could be probably gone on the first couple of days of the draft as well. So we'll keep an eye on Cage Casey. A number of other guys on the list that I want to get to as well. But first, want to thank a couple of our sponsors that make this show free of charge for you guys to be watching here on social media right now on a Monday morning. And that starts with our title sponsor, rowpaint.com. Andy Rowe and Company, they've been with us since day one. We really appreciate their support. All your painting needs, whether it's those concrete coatings for your backyard, your garage, that ugly concrete slab you have, you can transform it in just one day. We've done it twice. I highly, highly recommend their concrete coatings. They can help you with all your other interior, exterior painting needs as well. Check them out online at rowpaint.com. Give them a call, 208-991-0567. Tell them you heard about it on BNN. They'll hook you up with a great deal. Andy Rowe and Rowe Paint. Taco Bell, TacoBellWorks.com is their website. You want to apply for a job? They are hiring. They get free food while you work, half your wages the next day after your shift, great promotional benefits. Maybe you never thought about a career at Taco Bell, but in terms of the management and the promotional opportunities that you have, it's a great working environment, great spot to start your career. And there's paperwork to start and apply for a job right when you walk in the stores. Oh, by the way, the food's pretty darn good as well. The kids... Summer break now and a lot of baseball practices. We're making a lot of Taco Bell runs before or after practice. Those cheesy roll-ups. You can feed my kids for like $5. A couple of cheesy roll-ups and a slushie. Highly recommend it. Taco Bell. TacoBellWorks.com. We appreciate SON Management Group and the Nicolason family and Taco Bell. Hey, Idaho Central Credit Union. Don't know if you've heard this, Mike. They have inked a deal with a new basketball player to replace Tyson Degenhardt here. I'm not sure if I'm at liberty to say who it is yet, but if you think of the next kind of rising star the next couple of years for Boise State basketball, Idaho Central Credit Union, again, stepping up to try to help keep them in Boise at Boise State. So return the favor. Idaho Central Credit Union, ICCU.com. Prater and I both ICCU members, and highly recommend it. You don't realize kind of what you're missing when you're at your other bank, but once you get over to ICCU and realize how easy it is, it really is easy, and really appreciate them for their support. I was driving through Pocatello and saw their world headquarters offices there on the side of the highway. So Idaho Central Credit Union, there's a branch pretty much at every corner. You can check them out online. Get started today at ICCU.com. Hey, Jackson's and Extra Mile are helping you save money at Roaring Springs. 2 Coca-Cola products is all it takes. You get $8 off, and then you can save up to $32 on 4 tickets at Roaring Springs. So if you're taking the family to Roaring Springs this summer, highly recommend taking advantage of this deal from our friends at Jackson's and Extra Mile. You get, again, just buy 2 Coca-Cola products, save the receipt. You get up $8 off your ticket, and you can use that up to 4 tickets. You're talking $32 in savings from our friends at Jackson's and Extra Mile, and that is at Roaring Springs. Hey, Snake River Pool and Spa, patio and game, thespateam.com, located in Twin Falls, Boise, Meridian, Nampa. They got 4 locations, been around since 1978. They're part of the Boise State home team, whether it's a spa, whether it's a sauna, whether it's a pool table, they got you covered. View them online to see all their options, or just check out one of their 4 locations, thespateam.com. I mentioned it's a blue and orange store Monday here at Bronco Nation News. We appreciate Travis Hawks and company, and whether it's business advice, whether it's just anything. I always love shooting the breeze with Travis Hawks, and just awesome to see him get another cool deal here to have the jerseys and caps and everything now being sold in venue at the football games, the basketball games. And I know, Mike, from what you've heard, what I've heard, it's just going to be an awesome experience. I can't wait for that first Prater jersey to get sold at a game. But you can get the individual names and numbers smacked right there on the back of the jersey and screen printed on, while you're waiting. Just all the different options they have. It's going to be great. The Hall of Fame store is going to be awesome when that opens in the next couple of weeks. So the Blue and Orange store, don't forget, you can order online anywhere in the world at theblueandorangestore.com. And they also have that great location there at the Boise Town Square Mall, their clearance rack, best value in town. The Blue and Orange store, theblueandorangestore.com. All right, some other names on this list, Mike Prater. Let's keep this thing rolling here. We have Nathan Carroll's second session here where it said could get drafted, and you might sounds like maybe have disagree with a couple of these in terms of more light. He says could get drafted. Maybe I'm curious if you think any of these are locks to get drafted. But the 3 he has in the could get drafted category: Jaden Virgin Morgan, Matt Lauder, and Marco Notriani are his 3 that he thinks are in the next tier. He's pretty high on Marco Notriani. I know when we talked about him on Thursday, there were some people in the chat saying, Marco Notriani drafted? What are we talking about here? But he said he looked at his measurables, he looked at his stats, and he looked at kind of the trend of linebackers that have done what he has done. And if he has another really solid season, I know Nathan really believes Marco Notriani has a chance to get drafted. He also has Jaden Virgin Morgan and Matt Lauder on his list. You can take this and those 3 any order, any direction you want.
Matt Lauder is going to get drafted, I think. I'm going to put him, he's not the lock that Cage Casey is, but I think Matt Lauder is going to be drafted, and I think he's going to get a really nice shot to make some money in the National Football League. I love the way this guy plays football. I think his best days are ahead of him. I think he's going to lead this team in receiving. I really, truly do. The wide receiver guys are going to get kind of spread the wealth a little bit, and the number 1 target for Maddox Madsen is going to be Matt Lauder, and I really, truly believe that. He's smart, he's methodical, he's physical, he's got the athleticism, he's got the DNA. He checks a lot of boxes for me. I think Matt Lauder could sneak his way up into maybe a 3rd round's probably a little bit high, but he's an early Saturday guy as we sit here right now today. If you ask me, I really like this guy's potential, and I think he's going to be the number 2 lock in terms of the Boise State draft. I'll jump in real quick.
I'll jump in there and talk about Matt Lauder because I agree with you. If you look at his size and his measurables and what he can do, and then you throw in the fact that he is probably going to put up monster numbers this season, I agree with you. That is one of our questions for later in the series in terms of the leading receiver and that kind of stuff. And so I do agree with you that he could be 70 catch guy this year. I don't know, 75 catches. I don't know, somewhere in that 50 to 75, 80 range, probably, if he's getting, 6-7 balls a game. And I agree with you that he's going to have big stats, which will make people look to him. And then you throw in the size and some of the other things that he has. I really do like Matt Lauder, another guy who could have gone and got some money elsewhere and stayed. And I'm with you there that with a big season, I do think Matt Lauder has a decent chance of getting drafted.
Just look at his production that he had last year. Cam Camper had the biggest targets. Cam Camper had going into the bowl game had 86 targets. Matt Lauder was number 2 on this team with 64 targets. He was ahead of Caples, who only had 55 targets last year. So that number's not going down, guys. That number is not going down. So Camper's gone. Caples now the projected wide receiver 1. Again, I think that's going to be more by committee than a dominant number 1 wide receiver. So Matt Lauder is going to get, let's say 70, 80, 90 targets. I mean, that's a lot of targets, but I think he's going to get those. And his target to catch ratio is very, very high. So if he's going to get 70, 80, 90 targets, he's going to get 60, 70, 80 catches and just be dominant and physical. So, yeah, Matt Lauder, if he stays healthy and goes out there and does what he has to do, I think they're kind of building this offense around him a little bit in terms of the pass game.
Don't forget, his position coach is the offensive coordinator now.
Exactly. I mean, it just really all fits into play that Matt Lauder is going to have a monster season. So knock on wood that he stays healthy. I love watching that guy play football.
All right, what about Jaden Virgin Morgan?
Nah, I'm going to put Jaden Virgin Morgan and Marco Notriani. I know you kind of wanted to break him out, but in the same category for me, right? As I sit here right now, I'd say no, that they're not going to get drafted. They'd probably get a shot. They'd get that free agent tryout. They'd get that free agent camp. Maybe they'd get a free agent signing. But as we sit here right now, I'm not sure Jaden Virgin Morgan is a draft pick. I'm not sure that Marco Notriani, can they play themselves into that? Absolutely. Are they on that list of dudes who could play themselves into that? Yeah, and me personally, and I know we're going to probably get to this guy, I would throw Ty Benefield into that next wave. So for me, it's about 3 waves, and I know you got a little bit more of a wave there, but it's Cage Casey, it's Matt Lauder is wave number 2, and then wave number 3 are guys like Marco Notriani, Jaden Virgin Morgan, and Ty Benefield. I got to put Ty Benefield in that group as well.
He says he thinks Nathan Carroll believes Jaden Virgin Morgan will more likely than not get drafted by the time his college career is done. But he lands in this section because I'm not sure when that will be. So he thinks he could get drafted, but maybe not after this season. Maybe he were to come back and again, either at Boise State or somewhere else, and have another 2 seasons left. He is draft eligible, but he has 2 years of eligibility, more years than just this year left in terms of his eligibility. He said coming off a 10-sack first-team All-Mountain West season, certainly has the production to be an NFL draft pick, good size and athleticism for the position, but it's a matter of whether he'll choose to come out or return. And he says if he does declare for the draft, it would be because he thinks he's like a likely day 2 selection. So maybe he has a big year and he knows he's going to be 2nd or 3rd round. Yeah, he'll come out and go into the draft this year. He's another guy for me, Mike, that just has the physical size and the attributes. When you're a scout or whatever, looking at the roster, you're going, okay, he's got the weight, he's got the size, and I'm just curious with him now that Ahmed Hassanin is gone. Okay, you had your 10 sacks, you had your first team All Mountain West, production. Now you're going to be the guy that other defenses are now circling. I'll be curious how he follows up last season this year.
Yeah, especially with not a lot of proven help on the other side. Max Deege is kind of the presumptive starter on the other side. He's not going to strike any fear at any kind of opponents. Maybe it can develop into that. So yeah, I think Jaden Virgin Morgan's going to be. There's going to be a lot of walls in front of him. There's going to be a lot of bodies, a lot of double teams in front of him this year. Even sitting here today to say that he's a 2nd or a 3rd round draft pick, I think that's crazy. That's crazy talk to me. Again, I wouldn't even put him on from my opinion, he is not going to get drafted as we sit here today, even late on a Saturday. So we'll see how it plays out, but there's no way that Jaden Virgin Morgan, even today, is a 2nd or 3rd round draft pick. He's got a lot of work to do. It's a prove it year for him. I think he's got the chance to do it. I do like his size, his athleticism, and his production last year was fantastic. Can he do that again this year? That's going to be the big question for him.
And what he says about Notriani, he says, I mentioned in my write-up for Notriani in the most important players list that he could be in line to get drafted with a strong showing this year. Many BNN subscribers disagreed, but I'm here to tell you I've already talked with some NFL personnel who have him on their radar at 6'3", 238. He has the size for an NFL linebacker, and while he's not an exceptional athlete, he is good enough to be an NFL player. Coming off a first-team All-Mountain West season, another strong year, could see Notriani possibly go on day 3 of the NFL draft. So I'm again, this is why I love sports. There's debates, whatever. I told Nathan I don't necessarily agree with him on that, but we'll see what happens. But another guy who could put up monster stats in the Mountain West, and that's got something's got to be said for that.
Yeah, and he does have a history of injury. So let's knock on wood and hope that he can get through an entire season. I ask you this question. Marco Notriani, we all love him. I mean, he's one of the great interviews that we love down there. We enjoy hanging out with him. He's a cool dude, and it's the kind of guy I'd like to hang with more outside of just football. I really like the way that this guy approaches life. He's brilliant. He's really, really smart. He's a methodical leader on this team. Here's my question to you, though. What is the one thing that what's his superpower? What's his super strength? Marco Notriani is really, really good at a lot of things when it comes to football. He's not great at anything. You're right. He's not a great athlete. He's not very fast. He's not going to beat you sideline to sideline. He's not going to beat you deep into pass coverage. He's not going to knock your helmet off and send it flying 10 yards down the field with a physical, violent football hit. Marco Notriani's really good as a football player. I just don't think he's really great at it. And I'm not sure he's going to develop any kind of great attributes. And that's okay. You can still get drafted. You can still get in the National Football League and do some things as long as you go out there, stay healthy and be productive and do all the things that the coaching staff wants you to do this year. So, yeah, I'll put him on the list. But as we sit here right now, I'm going to put him on the Jaden Virgin Morgan list, not drafted.
And he is a guy, he was number 2 in our series, a guy that they really need to stay healthy and really need to have a big year this year. And what that translates to after the season, we'll wait and see. All right, there's a bunch of guys here. You mentioned Ty Benefield on the Nathan's third tier, and I want to see if you think any of them should be higher or lower, in just a second. But do want to thank a couple more great sponsors. Lithia Ford of Boise. Buying a used vehicle makes more sense than ever, and Lithia Ford of Boise's certified pre-owned vehicles give you more for your money. Each vehicle is inspected with issues addressed to ensure customers get a pre-owned vehicle they can be proud to own. Do what the Raines family did. Go on in, purchase a used vehicle from Lithia Ford of Boise. You can check out their lot at Fairview and Maple Grove, or visit them online at lithiafordboise.com. Hey, Matt Bauscher is ready to help you buy or sell your home. You get to meet everybody in that picture there when you buy or sell a home from Matt, because the customer service is just unmatched. I know he was out helping Abe Jackson look at houses recently. Bauscher Real Estate online at bauscherrealestate.com. Number 1 ranked realtor in the Treasure Valley for a reason. Raines family bought and sold our home. Folks, these sponsors, they're not just names, and I'm not just lying to you up here. I buy my home with Matt Bauscher. I bought my car from Lithia. I have my bank at ICCU. Get my gas at Jackson. It really is not just some lip service here. When we tell you about these sponsors, they really are great people and they really do great work. And that includes Matt Bauscher and Bauscher Real Estate. He's ready to help you out. Again, no home is too big or too small. You can do that online at bauscherrealestate.com. Hey, Ridley's Family Markets, shop Ridley's.com. Another great sponsor for us. Drive all the way to Kuna to get groceries, because we just love Ridley's Family Markets. Shop Ridley's.com. And I say all the way to Kuna. It's like 15 minutes away. It's not that far. Kuna, Middleton, Star. They got the Treasure Valley, locations. They got the Magic Valley locations. They got the McCall spot up there, and they got surrounding states as well. Almost 30 Ridley's Family Markets in all. So support the sponsors, folks. If you're looking for that hometown grocery store feel, friendly environment, great staff, and if you download that Skip app, you get savings up to 40% off at the checkout line, and that's from our friends at Ridley's Family Markets. Hey, if you're needing a job, I mentioned Taco Bell earlier. Another good one is Transportation Compliance Service. You want to get into the trucking industry, they can help you with the paperwork and stuff to get out there towing that first load in no time, whether it's DOT, overweight, all the permits and paperwork you have to have. They can do it for you. And over 75% of people that try to sign up to be a truck driver by themselves end up going out of business. So it's a local company here in the Treasure Valley, Jeff Meinert and Company, helping folks all over the world. I met a guy down on my anniversary in Mexico that said he was a truck driver, and started talking to him, and he signed up with TCS just randomly. So they're helping folks everywhere. Transportation Compliance Service online, transcomservice.com. And if you like something you heard, if you maybe in Prater's case didn't like something you hear, speakpipe.com is the /BNN is the website. We want the good, the bad, the ugly, any criticism of the show, anything you liked, any suggestions. We'll play it on an upcoming broadcast, or if it's just for me privately, I can just listen to it and get back to you. But speakpipe.com /BNN is the website. You can leave us a voicemail right there from your phone on your computer. It's super easy. And that's brought to you by our friends at Signature Roofing, covering our community for more than 2 decades. Whether it's a re-roof, a repair, an estimate, an inspection, they're ready to help you. All your roofing needs. Signature Roofing, mysignatureroofing.com. Prater, they had one of the favorite holes out there at the golf tournament with the tacos, the street tacos.
Love the street tacos. Those were spectacular, man. I remember that hole. I remember the street tacos, and very, very nicely done. A very, very cool moment.
Hole 4, that was a fun one, having the street tacos out there. So we appreciate the whole Signature Roofing team for being out there at the golf tournament and their continued support of Bronco Nation News. They'll be sponsoring the RJ Keene Show, which will be firing up here in a couple of weeks. I know some folks in the athletic department are cringing a little about RJ Keene having his own show, Mike Prater, but we'll see if we can keep him in line here, and that's going to be brought to you by Signature Roofing. So we appreciate them. All right, tier 3 on this list, Mike. Some other names on here. I guess I'll just go. First of all, you mentioned Ty Benefield. Is there anybody else, Ty Benefield / anybody else that should be highest possible chance of getting drafted in your opinion that we haven't talked about?
Yeah, no, I'm going to go with just the 3. I got Cage Casey as my highest tier. I got Matt Lauder as my second tier, and I got Ty Benefield as my third tier. And then I got everybody else that we've talked about so far as a 4th tier. So that would be my working tier as we sit here right now.
All right, so on his list, and again, he calls these wild cards, so he's just throwing names out there. They have a great year. Who knows what could happen? He's got Amarion McCoy, Mason Randolph, Braxton Feely, Jeremiah Irby, and Chris Marshall as his 6 kind of wild cards. Ty Benefield on this list as well. He mentioned Benefield said, his play on the field up to this point would not warrant a, high enough picks that he's probably going to want to leave early to enter the draft after this year. But at 6'2", 204, he has excellent size and length for a safety. He's the type of toolsy player front offices will love to take a chance on. A strong season could see him test the draft waters a year early. I know you're high on Benefield. I don't remember if you were on the day he was on. Some of the numbers, the Pro Football Focus numbers, don't love Ty Benefield and the way he played last season, but overall, a guy that is expected to be, a big leader and a big part of this defense. And I've always thought with his size that he is an NFL type safety. When and if that comes, I guess we'll have to wait and see.
I thought that was perfectly said in terms of the production on the field. I mean, Ty Benefield was just as bad last year at times as he was good. Very inconsistent in terms of the pass coverage. And the lack of playmaking ability in terms of getting interceptions, getting takeaways, creating turnovers, forced fumbles, the violent physical tackling that's going on. So there's no doubt that, as we say here today, based on the production on the field, that Ty Benefield has done not a lot to get into the NFL. Everything that we talk about when it comes to Ty Benefield is based on the potential and based on the body size, in terms of what he brings to the table as a safety in the NFL. So Ty Benefield right now is kind of I don't want to say a poor man's J.L. Skinner, but he can work his way into a J.L. Skinner. J.L. Skinner's in the NFL, but he's having a hard time getting traction a couple of years into the league right now. So I kind of see Ty Benefield maybe taking the poor man's version of that route into the NFL if he can. But there's no doubt he's got to be way more productive and way more consistent on the football field this fall, because there were too many red flags. At this point last year, he's not going to get drafted, and he's probably not going to even get into camp if he can't shore some of those things up, despite what kind of body he has. So it's a big year for Ty Benefield.
And I think you were on the show last Monday when we talked about Ty Benefield. I believe he was our number 5 player. But the one thing that comes to, or a couple of things, was his missed tackle rate increased. He missed a lot of tackles last year, 17%. And then he allowed 6 touchdowns. And he doubled the snaps from the year before. But 2 years ago, he had 5 pass breakups. Last year, he only had 2 pass breakups all season. And again, part of that scheme, part of that's teams they're playing. I get it. But if you have 5 pass breakups, then you double your snap count and you go down to 2 pass breakups. That's at least a little concerning to look at there. So I agree. Yep. I think he has a ton of potential. I do think he has the size to be a potential NFL player, but I'm not quite ready to anoint Ty Benefield as the top safety in the Mountain West and a guy that's a surefire draft pick. But I do like him. I think he's got great potential, and I would suspect he's going to have a solid year this year, just another year of experience under his belt, another year of being the guy back there. And I think him and Zion Washington at that safety position is a very intriguing unit. But I am curious and excited to see what Ty Benefield can do this year. But in terms of NFL draft stock, I do think it's a big kind of prove it year for him, as it is with a couple of these guys. Anybody else? Both my kids were screaming, celebrating about something. I don't know what. I got scared for a second. I don't know what happened, but they must have won their video game or something in the other room. I don't know. Sorry about that. But anybody else, whether a Mason Randolph, whether it's a Roger Carrion on the offensive line, we're talking about Casey. I don't know if those other guys on the offensive line, have any kind of opportunity. You mentioned the injury concerns with both of those guys, but I think, if Ben Dooley can get into a camp, there's a chance I would think that a Carrion or a Mason Randolph could, maybe have a chance to sneak into the 6th or 7th round with a big year. I mean, if you're the multi-year starting center for a Boise State team that maybe goes back-to-back playoffs, I mean, you're at least going to get some looks there. And if they run the ball again this year the way a lot of people think they could, any thought on Randolph or Carrion on the O-line?
Definitely like Randolph's potential. We'll see how that plays out. Carrion, doesn't really strike me as an NFL guy right now, but he's got an entire year to prove it. I think Randolph is definitely going to – if Randolph goes into the kind of year and has the year that he is expected to have, he's going to get a chance of some kind in the NFL. I really, truly believe that. And I think what you said about Dooley is spot on in terms of if he can get themselves into a camp, that's going to happen. And I think Randolph can be the same. Everybody else, there really isn't much else. And I know you brought up the 2 cornerbacks. I know you brought up Feely. The two cornerbacks, Irby and McCoy, I kind of want to see how they're developed this year, and I'm kind of saying that for a two-part reason in terms of the coaching staff and Demario Warren and kind of the skepticism that I've had about him. Can he develop a couple of, I don't want to say undersized corners that have some decent athleticism, corners that have some decent potential? I think he can get them to have a good year in college football. Can he get them pro ready? Can he develop them so they can get a chance in the NFL? I'm very curious because that's a tag team effort between the coach and the player and development and production. So I'm going to put Demario Warren kind of on notice there and see what he can do with Irby and McCoy. Feely, we'll see how he is in terms of coming back. He's a big guy in the middle, and he might get himself a chance, but he's probably more like a Herbert Gums, a guy that just quietly goes about his business in the middle. And Herbert Gums and Sheldon Newton didn't even get sniffed at when it came to the NFL this year. So right now, Braxton Feely is probably in that category for me.
Well, going to be a fun 5 weeks doing this series, looking at, I think the list starts and ends with Cage Casey in terms of who we feel most confident in, and then you kind of roll down who it would be after that, Mike Prater, in terms of some of the 2 or 3 or 4 possibilities in terms of getting drafted. But certainly some NFL quality talent on this list, whether they're drafted or free agent deals or not.
Yeah, and I think, come on now, BJ, I think we may have forgotten the number one candidate here, or certainly a dude that needs to be on this list. He's either a 3-year starter or about to become a 4-year starter in a very, very niche sport when it comes to the NFL. He's not going to get drafted, but what about veteran long snapper Mason Hutton? Come on, man. He's got a chance, right?
I would think so. I mean, certainly, yeah, we're special teams is a little further down the list, and we're going to give Mason Hutton his due. But yeah, never know. There's certainly spots for guys like that, and he's obviously done it a long time. So, yeah, and as Bronco 130 says, Boise State needs Randolph to stay healthy. Totally agree with that. Yep. Mike, it's going to be a fun series the next 5 weeks. I think tomorrow we're looking at breakout candidates, in terms of guys that could step up with bigger roles this season. We've got an offensive line question in terms of who starts, some of those spots later this week. And then where does the defense need to take a step forward? Where does the offense need to take a step forward? And then a little teaser for you to chew on here. I believe next Monday we're talking Spencer Danielson. And is he the best coach already at the group of 5 level? I think is the question for next Monday. Get into Spencer Danielson. I tried to kind of play to some strings here, and I thought, Spencer Danielson would be a good one for Mike Prater to talk about next Monday. So we're going to have some fun with this series. And as I said, we'll get to number 1 on the day we're flying to Vegas for Media Days. And then we'll have our Media Days preview on Tuesday, and then have great coverage Wednesday, Thursday from Media Days there in Las Vegas. Mike, I know it's a Monday. You haven't had your show meeting yet, but anything you want to tease for KTIK either today or this week?
No, I mean, we're going to be probably following a lot with the mandatory mini camps. All 17 former Boise State football players, 18 if you count Kellen Moore. We've been dealing with rookie mini camps. We've been dealing with OTAs. Everything up until this point has been voluntary. This week, NFL camps, mandatory mini camps. I even talked to Shaq about that out of his golf tournament a couple of days ago. He's flying back to Buffalo this morning, getting ready for mandatory mini camp. So all 17 players are in camp and reporting for duty. We'll have a lot of Boise State NFL camp news. I know you'll be following that. We'll be following that. That's going to be one of the bigger storylines of the week for sure. Yeah, and the football teams in their 3rd or 4th week, whatever it is now, they've got a lot of official visits all this month and a lot of camps and things. Got some offers, some commits, and then the basketball team today is their first day of official full team being back in Boise as well. So a lot going on with summer workouts and things with the local teams as well, and the NFL and all that good stuff. So they'll have you covered. KTIK 3 to 6. You can listen to them today all week, whether it's KTIK.com, the KTIK app. You can download that Apple iTunes podcast, subscribe to them if you can't listen live, but obviously 95.3 FM, 1350 AM is where you can listen live to them throughout the day. 3 to 6, their show is live. Prater and the ball game, we appreciate them. You heard Prater on Mondays, Johnny on Thursdays. We appreciate our partnership with KTIK. Is NATO on campus already? He was supposed to arrive this weekend, I believe, and be a part of today's first workout, right, Mike? That's what I was told. I think you've been talking to Burns. I talked to Burns the other day, and yeah, the plan was for him to fly into town this weekend. And I don't know what the basketball version of Dex is, but yeah, summer conditioning starts today. Those guys are going to be grinding and working very, very hard starting today.
Well, I used to call them they were always called suicides when I was growing up. You had to do the free throw line back, half court back, free throw. But apparently in today's age, I was told you can't call them suicides anymore. They're gassers or some other things. So yeah, we don't want to be, want to be, say the right things and obviously take that seriously. But that I don't know if that's what they end up doing or what it would be. But I'm sure basketball conditioning is maybe different style, a lot more cardio related, but I'm not sure I could do either one of them. So
you and me both.
Mike, appreciate it as always. Enjoy the rest of your day. Good luck on the show today. Jay Tuss will be back tomorrow. We'll look at some breakout candidates. Who are some guys on the roster that could break out with big seasons here in 2025? Who do the Broncos need to have breakout seasons here in 2025? We'll discuss that tomorrow at 9 a.m. You can read Nathan Carroll. I know Mike Prater's working on a column as well. BroncoNationNews.com is where you can do that. And I hope you have a great rest of your day. We'll talk to you guys tomorrow morning, 9 a.m. with Jay Tuss, Bronco Nation News Live, BroncoNationNews.com. Take care, everybody.
Bronco Nation News is presented by our title sponsor, RovePaint.com. Our major sponsors, Idaho Central Credit Union, Taco Bell, Lithia Ford, the Blue and Orange Store, Jackson's, and our contributing sponsors, Signature Roofing, Western Collective, Snake River Pool and Spa, Transportation Compliance Service, Boucher Real Estate, Ridley's Family Markets, Circa Las Vegas, Lean Feast, and Timberstone Golf Course.